Set some record highs today. We'll show you next half hour up in the 90s, but now we're dropping back through the 80s. 80 in Weslaco, 87 in Rio Grande City, and 70s along the coast. It's still kind of humid in some areas. We have an old front kind of sitting over us, but one that's kind of fading away. It's mostly just a boundary between very humid air in the lower valley with dew points in the mid 70s. It's almost like summertime air there to slightly more comfortable air in the upper valley with dew points in the 50s and 60s. But this front not really doing much, kind of just fading away. The next cold front coming in tonight will kind of push the cool air in finally. So that front's still coming out of the hill country. Ahead of the front is warm. Behind the front, a little bit of a breeze, but a cooler north wind and lower humidity. So the chilly air, though, staying way up in North Texas and out away from us. So, we'll see a cool down back to normal, basically. Instead of being record high levels, we'll be back down closer to typical levels tomorrow. So here are future track temperatures this evening. Shows temperatures falling through the 80s into the 70s. By tomorrow morning, depending on if the front can get through here fast enough, we may briefly drop down into the upper 50s around sunrise, but in the 60s most of later tonight. And then temperatures with a full day of sunshine back in the 70s most of the day, and by nearly this time tomorrow, we're falling through the 70s into the 60s. And it should be a cooler night tomorrow night, as most everywhere will be down in the low to mid 50s by Thursday morning. Thursday's a day with still a fairly sunny day. We'll be back in the 70s again, but the clouds will be increasing, and that could set the stage for a few days of clouds and even showers again by the weekend. So next 3 days, temperatures, the average high this time of year is in the mid to upper 70s. We'll be around 77 or so Wednesday and Thursday, maybe climbing a few degrees if we can keep a little sun breaking through on Friday. But here we go with the satellite and radar. Not much out there this evening. If you saw the sunset, there were some high thin clouds around. Those high thin clouds not yielding any rain, and it looks like it will be a dry night across the valley. Future track, a close-up of the front coming in, shows by the time the front arrives in the morning, just near sunrise, it should be clearing the area by 6 or 7 in the morning. Doubtful there'll be any rain. Future track shows maybe a sprinkle briefly offshore, but not enough moisture to really get anything going besides maybe a few passing clouds around sunrise. After that, we're back in the sun tomorrow. Gets a little bit cooler. Could be kind of windy at the coast as the front passes, and through at least the first half of the day, maybe in the early afternoon tomorrow. Winds at the coast, if you're out on the waters or on the beach, may still gust up to around 30 miles per hour, a little bit higher. So it's probably taken until sometime in the afternoon for the winds to start to calm down at the coast, but not as windy farther inland. Thursday looks like a nice day, sunshine around, but you notice by the afternoon the clouds, here they come again, and once they start rolling in late Thursday, they just start to thicken up more and more Thursday night, and into Friday they get thicker and thicker, and eventually some showers could start to fall out. So not a day when it's going to rain all day Friday, but probably going to be cloudy with a little rain off and on Friday, and temperatures holding most of the day in the 70s. So rain chances dry tomorrow, dry Thursday, pops up to 40% Friday. It could be higher than that for Saturday and maybe even going into Sunday coming up. Here's another look at future track showing that front coming through, and once the front comes through, Texas kind of clears things out temporarily. Wednesday looks like a nice sunny day all across the state with cooler temperatures. Thursday looks pretty nice, but remember the clouds are coming back, and not only here in the valley, but all across Texas Friday and even going into Saturday. If you have travel plans across Texas this weekend, it could be pretty wet most everywhere, especially from central and the eastern Texas, where there could be some heavy rain, maybe even some flooding concerns this weekend. Up in the Houston area and southeast Texas may have some substantial rainfall totals of more than a few inches later Saturday and Sunday. We'll talk more about that next half hour as well. If you're going to the coast tomorrow, remember, kind of windy. The front comes through around sunrise, and you see the winds 20 to 25 miles per hour with higher gusts in the morning. Water temperatures still in the 70s today, but air temperatures only in the low to mid 70s tomorrow, and even cooling quickly into the evening into the 60s. Small craft advisories are in effect tomorrow because of those gusty winds, some bigger seas. Also a high risk of rip currents if you're jumping in the water, but a low tide in the morning, high tide in the evening. And your first 4 and 5 forecast tonight, most of the night clear to partly cloudy. You may see a couple clouds build up along the front when it comes through close to sunrise, but lows might get down to 58 briefly. Most of the night in the 70s this evening, 60s later tonight. Maybe a brief drop in temperatures depending on the speed of the front. Back up to 77 tomorrow. Plenty of sunshine. Winds may be a little gusty at the coast with northerly and maybe eventually northeasterly winds later in the day. First 1-5-70 forecast. The sun should be around most of Thursday. Friday, though, not so sunny. Clouds should be pretty thick most of the day and maybe a few holes in the clouds, but a couple of showers are possible Friday. And Saturday and Sunday probably won't rain nonstop, but with a storm system in the area, there could be a lot of clouds and on and off showers most of the weekend. And Sunday may be a cool day with a cooler north breeze blowing, so it may get stuck in the 60s. But the sun comes back for a while again by the early part of next week. We'll track these fronts and have a look at those high temperatures today coming up next half hour. Letty?
All right, thank you.